Good evening and welcome to Douglar Politics. Condolences to the family and friends of Ishwa Galbaran Singh and Fazal Karim, former Minister of Science and Tertiary Education. Two cricket fanatics. The last thing Fazal Karim asked me was, what's the score down in Australia? And unfortunately, he did not live to see Shamar Joseph take 7 for 68 and win a test match down in Australia for the West Indies. What an incredible performance all around by the West Indies to go down 37 years. They lost a test match down inside a day. And the young West Indies team, yes, we still have a lot to do, but we need to enjoy and celebrate brilliance, great speed. The speed this young man was bowling with, the tenacity, the change of pace. The man so fit. He normally now we see fast bowlers, they start off first 2 overs and they bowling at 96 miles per hour, and then after about 3 more overs, they burn and they down by 88. This young man and the West Indies cricket team, well done. And you all could record this because I have not said this probably in 30 years. It has been a great week for Cricket West Indies. Well done to the West Indies Cricket Board and Cricket West Indies, because we see that they have agreed equal pay for West Indies men and women by 2027. That is fantastic, and that shows our young girls and ladies that they are respected just as much as the men. And also the under-19 West Indies young boys playing brilliant, beat England, take 2 points into the Super Sixes, then they win against Sri Lanka, heading into the semi-finals. So Cricket West Indies, take a clap. I don't think I've ever done this on this Douglar Politics. Well done. All you keep it going. Use your brains. Keep working hard. It's been a long time, so well done. But from that, we move into Dunce one time. PNM Brian Lewis. PNM Brian Lewis, who could never say when he was the president of the Olympic Committee and Kamla Prasad Bisesa was prime minister, aquatic center building, never say, hey boy, that's good. Tennis center, national tennis center, cycling velodrome, 89 grounds, coaching caravan, sport, women in sport, 79 sport development officers moving around the country, increased funding for TT Pro League, football in general, increased funding for sport from 10 million PNM to 140 million Kamla. This man could never write and say, well, that's excellent, that's nice. Then he jump out and screen for PNM. And you know who beat he? Keith Scotland. Keith Scotland beat he. But he is coming now saying, hey, he's still walking. He created what can be the most ludicrous, idiotic, nonsensical, conceptual plan. 10 years ago, he say 10 gold medals by 2024. We in 2024, we ain't get one since he concoct that nonsense, because he has no clue what it takes. You set goals, even dream goals, but you don't set ridiculous, impossible, nothing in play, nothing in place, no coaching, no sports science. The PNM come in and cut funding for sport, cut the sport development officers, no coaches down in the primary schools, secondary school coaches get cut by the PNM, funding get cut, football funding cut, education competition, people have to have barbecue and curricue to go for sport. No coaching, no training. Facilities they gone through. Mani Ramjan, we will see next week or so. I'll show you Mani Ramjan Stadium. All the stadia, Atto Bolden children couldn't even sit down in the shade, in the covered stands to watch football. Swimming pool in Grandy across the board. National Aquatic Center went green. We gone, what is that? We camera? No signal, but I don't know if all you hearing me still. Audio on, right, Archie, that's all right. You don't want to see me once you can hear me. All across the board, maintain grounds in poor state. no maintenance. The cycling track air condition went down. The National Hockey Center, they still do the turf yet 7 years later. Nothing in place. Coaches are getting paid. Coaches not in the schools. Coaches have no science. They no money to go in to compete early. No competitions. No funding. But this clung telling you about 10 gold medals by 2024. We get them absolutely zero. Because under that brain, under the afro, he has zero brain. And he's still talking. Now he's talking in his quote now. He's trying to say, for 10 years or so, since helping to establish the 10 gold by 24 TikTok Athlete Welfare and Preparation Fund, Lewis has embarked on this fundraising exercise with a group of fellow citizens, which at various times has included personalities such as Chief Justice Ivor Archie, PNM, Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Ethelbert ride a horse with an 8-year-old boy, can't walk straight, sprint hard when Tutu Water get kick on him, Hines, and Mayor of Port of Spain, Joel Martinez, who cuss homeless people. That is he, boys. Only PNM, but only a PNM will be so dense to go in a concept of 10 gold medals by 2024 from a clown who did not even know in 2004 when I came into the village with George Bovell on August 3rd, 2004, and he was the chef de mission, and I told him, boss man, I'm taking George. It is 11 a.m. I'm taking him to the pool at 5 p.m. He's going to take a nap, eat and relax, get a massage, do a little therapy on his shoulder because he had an injury. I need him to have his nice Trinidad and Tobago gear. His 2004. This man tell me the athletes reaching on the 10th. So George will get his gear on the 10th. Well, the amount of cost he get there, 3 van load reach, and George had get his gear within 45 minutes, right? Do you know who's the only man bring a medal? George Bovell. You know what he get a medal by? 1/100th of a second. He lose silver by 1/100th of a second, and he get the bronze by 1/100th of a second. Simply because he felt good about himself. Because everything has to be perfect to get an Olympic medal. This clown just dream up something. Oh, we're going to get 10 gold medals in 10 years. With nonsense. We had not gotten a gold medal since 1976. The next one we got is when I buy javelin for Keshawn Walcott as minister under Kamala, when we heard that the federation did not want Keshawn Walcott to train with the correct javelins. I said, what? When his manager came, I said, what nonsense? I said, permanent secretary, how much for them javelin? I think it was 2,870 US. I said, buy 2 for the boy. Let the boy train. They got the ministry, got it for a national athlete. He trained, he brought gold in the World Juniors, and then went to London 2012 and bring gold for Trinidad and Tobago. This clown just comes on, wake up with the afro and ball, 10 by 2024. Nonsense, 0 out of 10. That is PNM. Dotish, no concept, no understanding, but talk a big game and have some fools put in it. Look, you get a whole newspaper to promote stupidity in this country because Express and the media is PNM. That is what they give a whole newspaper for, to talk nonsense. And then we also see 2.1 million to guard Siparia community pool. I'm now telling you about the facilities. But the facility has been closed for the last 4 years. So not a child swim. Not an elderly person do aqua aerobics. Nobody could go under and blow circle bubbles under the pool. Nobody do backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly or freestyle in 4 years. But PNM pay a financier 2.1 million to secure and keep safe a pool that dung. Well done. I must big up though. Look. But which one is Shamfa there? And always not Shamfa get both Shamfas in Jamaica. Gadsby Dolly, how you going, boy? I see you and Foster, you're still going. Ah, they know the Douglar, no, Gadsby Dolly. Was it you who get buff, Gatsby Dolly? And why that buff? That buff sound emotive, emotional. And Gatsby Dolly, when did your heart rumble at the sound of his voice while he was buffing you? And Gatsby Dolly, when you see him, did your heart thump? Is he that potent man? Did you get a potent buff? It's not Paul Shamfa. Shamfa was in Jamaica. All right? Celebrating Jamaican Olympic athletes. But she can't celebrate we 2008 Olympic gold medalists. She ain't respecting them. She ain't celebrating them. She ain't giving them no national award. No money. Not naming nothing after them. But she gone Jamaica to hug up and take picture. But I must say in a positive. Pro Sport. I went to buy some stuff at Pro Sport in Mukurapo, on Mukurapo Road. Right before you reach down by Hot Shop and thing. You pass Fatima, you pass the Jamata, you're coming down on the left Pro Sport. Some tennis shoes and a racket and some clothes for my daughter. Now, I must say, well, especially when it comes to my daughter, I don't check bill and all them kind of things. She want the things, she playing, she sport, she working hard. All right, daddy will get it for you. Next thing I know, I go on the tennis court, daughter playing. I get a urgent phone call that somehow the worker there double charge for 2 rackets instead of 1 and so on. And Pro Sport bring the refund and give me back and so on. That is the kind of honesty and integrity. You want to know why that man's so good? Because that was a national hockey player and hockey coach, Darren Cowie. And that is, he didn't know them, I don't know. I didn't know anything. And they took it upon themselves to notify me of the error, apologize, and refund me money. That is class, that is integrity, and that's what sport does. So to Pro Sport, and anybody there who want to get sporting good for your children, support good people. Pro Sport are telling you. The show, poor attendance at Calypso Review, but the show must go on, say all these Calypsonians. One of the major challenges Calypso tents have faced over the years is the decrease in patrons. And even with the high quality of performances, managers are crying out that nobody is there and so on. What you expect? You weaponize the art form since 1987 coming forward with miscreants, disgusting, dishonest people who take Calypso and rip the heart and soul out of it. It used to be the newspaper of the people, the voice of the people, letting them know complex issues into simple melodies so that people will know what's going on. The PNM and then Joe Newton Williams have taken Calypso, transformed it into a payola. Who pay? Don't sing nothing bad about the PNM because you wouldn't get subvention for your tent. And all of a sudden, in 8 years, you ain't here. A kaiso about Rowley get COVID. What is COVID? That when you get horn and say you can't come out but you stay inside because it's COVID 4 times. How Rowley get COVID 4 times and they're dead? They sing no kaiso about walking past 3 dogs, a parrot opening the dungeon door and lay down on the red couch. What? You could imagine Sparrow had that sort of material, the kind of kaiso you'll get. They sing nothing about Delcy. They sing nothing about Small Pin chucking Rowley hard. They sing nothing about Nelson Gate. They sing nothing about Paula May whispering back to Rowley and they getting bliss. They may sing nothing like that. And then all they want to know, why Calypso 10 dead? Why Calypso dead? A soca artist win Young King? Yes, DNA sweet soca, I love it. No Calypso, a soca win Young King Calypso. What they go win in the and Marshall had to go in the Skinner Park too, right? And as we talking Calypso, crow, the Douglar didn't tell you, boy. I tell you, I warn you, and let me tell all you something. And be very careful because there are a lot of people on radio now. I take responsibility for that too. I must take the blame with the Honorable Sprangalang Dennis Hall and Christopher Sion. Because back in 2004 to 2010, we had a show on Power 102.1 FM, the Power Drive with Dennis Hall, Sprangalang, myself and Chris. And even on a Friday, when people working and liming and listening to music, our talk show got 28% market share. and beat 96.1, who was down at 13%. And after that, all of these radio stations getting any Tom, Dick, Harry, and Dunce to talk. Well, the amount of Dunce talk I hear about this is dangerous for the art form and it's terrible for calypso. Let me tell you something. What Crow sang was defamatory in the extreme. It was dotish, it was asinine, it could not be proved. And just because you have freedom of speech, I have freedom of speech here, Douglar politics, but not one day, not 1 second, not 1 minute you ever hear me lie on Keith Christopher Rowley. That's why Keith Christopher Rowley can't take me to court, won't take me to court, and can't sue me, because he can't win, because the number one defense to defamation is truth, and I don't ever lie on Rowley. So you take on Rowley with that nonsense in Sawa. Oh, Roberts, so nobody can't call my name, he's so stupid and coward, the bully little crybaby. Say Anil Roberts now, boy, say something. He say he don't sue me because he want to leave me right there. Rowley, you are such a dunce, and any of them PNM who believe you that stupidness, I slandering you and you not suing me, Rowley. Rowley, you take Darrell Smith's wife down the steps, past 3 dogs, past a parrot, into the dungeon, and down on the red couch. Sue me. Sue me, let me call witness. All you don't take on, but anyway, forget Rowley. I'm dealing with this one here. So don't try to say about Calypso in danger and it's an attack on Calypso and the judge. No. Calypso is brilliant. You're supposed to be artful. You're supposed to have double entendre. If you don't have the facts like how I have it, how I could say it direct, you have to be very careful. You see how Rowley just go on the platform and he just say things like, he just say Mr. Live Spot. You see, he don't say Anil Roberts. I dare Rowley to say Anil Roberts thief money. Say that. Just say those words. You Franco man mama pool Rowley. He will not say that because he knows he will go straight up in the court and I'll sue him for all the procurement he procuring. So Rowley uses his brain. He says things about people without calling the name, and so therefore you cannot say that he directly attacked you when he's not in parliament. Calypso, when you are not sure and you cannot say, and it's you're thinking that you're assuming certain things, you have to be very skillful and artful. You can't be dumb, dotish, and moved by emotion to talk nonsense and you cannot prove it. And to tell you all of y'all who's shocked, don't be shocked like this. Archie, I think I told Crow exactly what was going to happen. Me ain't no lawyer. He's a bush lawyer. Run it. Crow, I hear you sing a tune. Well, I read your tune, you know. But Ancient Ishmael going to sue you. Now, Crow, you see, there are politicians like me who will hear your stupidity and ignore you. As Dr. Williams said, let the jackass bray. And you, sir, are a perfect jackass. So people like me, you could sing where you want, me and care, me and going and bother to go and sue you and go through that process of pre-action protocol and go through 5 years. Me and that, my skin thick. But you see, you went at Ancient Ishmael and he's not a politician. And he decided now that he's going to stand up and defend his name. Well, Crow, I's not a lawyer. My mother is a lawyer, my father is a lawyer, my 2 brothers is a lawyer, my sister is a lawyer, my son go be a lawyer in June, right? But me ain't no lawyer, but I'm a bush lawyer. But Crow, let Anil give you some advice, eh? You don't have to take my stupid advice, eh? But let me tell you something, eh, Crow? You better go on stage and sing, Ancient, I'm sorry. Ancient, please forgive me. Ancient, I made a mistake. I didn't check my facts, Ancient. You better go and do that at the same level that you sang the words that affected the individual. Let me tell you why, Crow. Because I know you're not too bright. Okay? In your song, Crow, you said, so after that, Ishmael, where the hell wrong with you is we just buy your stolen car parts in the bamboo. Now, Dodo head, you have to prove that Inshan Ishmael ever received or sold a stolen car part in his entire career. I see no report of that. I see no allegation of that. I never hear about Inshan Ishmael selling anything or dealing in anything stolen. But you didn't use double entendre. You didn't just leave it out there like them PNM that just throw aspersions and hope it stick. You were very specific. You said, Ishmael, what the hell wrong with you? Is we does buy your stolen car parts in the bamboo. Crow crow, listen to the Douglar. Write a song. The song name is Inshan Sorry. Don't take me to court. I'm sorry, but God, I double check and I apologize. Okay, Crow Crow? Or else get to pay every last cent. You're going to end up crying like you was crying outside Woodford Square in 2001 November when Joe Newell had to come and sap your tears when your trunk was open with the scotch in your trunk right in front of the High Court by Woodford Square. Take my boy advice. Take your Douglar advice. Okay, Crow Crow? Say sorry, Inshan. Please forgive me. Beg off. And ask him to not sue you because the bush lawyer telling you, boy, get your checkbook out. And I hope them PNM go support you when you're getting them hundreds of thousands to pay out. Because, Crow Crow, you are the racist. Dishonest or dotish. It's one of the two. You're either dishonest or dotish, because as soon as I read and saw and listened to that nonsense this idiot sang, I know what was coming, because the law is the law is the law, and it's written in English. Richard Jagasa, young lawyer, well done, my brother. We had a clip there, but we had a technical difficulty. But young Richard Jagasa, right down, I say that name over and over. He take on Gilbert Peterson, PNM, and Bunkerer, Rowley friend, Inez Gate, Paria lawyer, Gilbert Peterson, senior counsel of dotishness, and can't even act as Attorney General for 1 minute. Keith Scotland, big Sawati PNM lawyers, and a young boy called Richard Jagasa mash all you up. Crow Crow, you're begging for money. Oh gosh, all you could deposit it and help me pay for my dotish mouth, help me pay for my lies. Really? PNM, all you help me, man. And all you like that? All you send money for he. Where Stuart Smallpin Young? Where Rowley? Where Keith Scotland? Gilbert Peterson, take a little bit of your bunkering money and help out Crow Crow now. All you leaving him by himself. Crow Crow, I thought you was drive big Benz. You better sell that Benz, boy. Alright, Crow Crow? Sing our next song. And Crow Crow, hear what to do now. Yes, you take basket from them PNM and go and sing on the judge now. Crow Crow, I dare you. Go and sing on the judge. Yes, Crow Crow, because they go bring bread for you. They go bring bread for you in Golden Grove. You go ahead. Crow Crow, you didn't listen to me last year. You had to pay $250 now. And if you appeal, it will go up. But now, I hearing, I don't think you're so stupid. I know you're dotish, but you're not stupid. Go and sing on the judge now. Go and attack
Monday,
the judge.
29th January 2024, Justice Frank Sipasad delivered his decision in the matter of Inshan Ishmael and Western Crow Crow Rawlins. That decision is not just significant for Mr. Ishmael or the parties involved, but for all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a long outstanding vindication to those who were attacked in the past in a similar manner, such as Basdev Pandey and Omar Pandey, Satmaraj, Veera Bhajan, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa. The case and its decision settles the highly debated issues of freedom of speech versus the law of defamation, and how calypso as a cultural point intertwines with those principles of law. Contrary to the rhetoric spewed recently following the decision really protects calypso and reminds us of its democratic origin and its original purpose, which is to give a voice to the voiceless. Noting that calypso is an important part of our cultural landscape of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Noting that the art form has fashioned the way we live, the way we think, the way we socialize, and offers commentary on cultural issues. I praise those that have now called for the revision of racial and radical defamatory lyrics in calypso. I praise those that sing songs about love, unity, and oneness. I made this infallible point at the trial of the matter, that calypso is more than music. It is a tool for education and national development. Rash Shotiai exemplified calypso's educational role in his song, specifically tailored for the youth, "Watch Out My Children," urging them to stay away from drugs and stay in school and focus on education.
And Crow, you're such a little baby. You like to sing things about people and they can't answer because you're up on a stage. The media call you and you crumble so easy. You had to cuss away one media man call you and you had to cuss away the media man and ask him if he have effing money for you. Crow. That is why man like you is little mama pool man boy. Crow. You is a mama pool just like Rowley. All the talk you give me, all the talk you give everybody, all your P&M come down with lie after lie. You see me crying? Oh God, Rowley really say that? Oh God, no. All you, hey, boy, ladies and gentlemen, could you all do me a favor and get rid of this mama pool P&M from the tapestry of our culture? It is weakening us at the very core of our soul. And this one, all your P&M, hey, all of your contractors who donated to Balice House. Junior Sammy, you're going to drop more concrete. What are you going to do? Sukai Diesel, you're going to give air condition? Give here air conditioner, man. What about Calco, Earth Movers, Kusal, all you help out the brother, man. It's P&M. And all you. And all you, when you see the government change because of nonsense like this, that this one that spew the nastiness, people fed up of this. You see all your name are called there, all you better have your bills, your quantity, which check they pay you with for Balice House, when you drop it, which hardware you buy it from, how it deliver, what was the transport cost, what was it cost. Have all of that ready, you know, because kickback is corruption. And all you want to go and join this one. And for you, Crow, you're bad boy. Boy, go on the stage, get on a stage, go in Skinner Park, and sing about the judge, boy. Let me see your Crow. I go buy a tin of corned beef and a loaf of flipping whole wheat kiss bread and drop it for you in Golden Grove. You go ahead. Don't listen. Are you ignorant? Remember you was crying, Joan, you ain't go stop your tears again, you know. Move that fool now. UN study, TNT commuters spend 33 days a year in traffic. 33 days a year in traffic and getting worse because of the stupidity of the P&M, the incompetence of the P&M. When Kamala Prasad-Bissesa has her ministers and they're doing works, road works, infrastructure, there is full communication, full planning, works at night, ensuring that the population is inconvenienced as little as possible. The P&M has come and they hear the Guardian now. Time to address in lingering traffic woes. It ain't lingering, it increasing and it getting worse. And the P&M have no clue about what to do because the infrastructure is also terrible. Potholes. I hear they do by Makalede. They try to prop up a landslide. They spend millions of dollars and the thing fall down and they have to change contractor. Mosquito crack. Valencia Highway to only monkey and to iguana and thing. That is P&M. This is not funny. The people are suffering. Spending life. Imagine under the P&M, 3 editorials in the newspaper. about traffic. The PNM does not have a concept or an idea, does not do a study to understand what is causing traffic, the bottlenecking, and make different adjustments. It is just horrendous because the PNM sucks. Even when Wassa, you driving in Diego Martin on Pity Valley Main Road. Well, boy, if you don't have a 4x4, the gravel alone in the hole could bust your tire. The whole, and that is PNM stronghold, PNM constituencies of the Prime Minister, Diego Martin West, of Colmin, but the acting Prime Minister, and our next one, Duncy Head, who couldn't get in Fatima Normal. PNM Corporation, and to drive on Pity Valley Main Road is a nightmare in itself. If you only drive 10 meters behind the next car, you could bust your windscreen. The whole road, accidents happening across the board because of PNM stupidity and PNM incompetence. They make a kind of fly-by-night Lego roundabout in Westmoreland. 4 cars smash up on Tuesday, gone day. 4 cars because you're coming on the road and they just chook the roundabout because they didn't have enough space when they plan it. And it is totally incongruous with the speed that you're coming up on a normal highway road. And that is PNM incompetence for you. Kamala Prasad says, sir, whenever Wassa had work to do, she tell Ganga Singh, and here the powerful men you're talking about, Ganga Singh and Jack Warner, or the then Minister of Public Utilities and Suraj Ratan Rambachan, and she tell them, Minister George and Rambachan and Ganga Singh and Jack Warner, she don't want to see any road that just pave, dig up, because somebody go lost their work. So she said, Ganga Singh, you go by Jack Warner, say exactly where the pipes are that you're going to fix, you're going to change out, you're going to dig and get the infrastructure going. And Jack Warner, your engineers and thing after, when he done finish and test, you go and pave. No wastage of money, no double work. All across Trinidad and Tobago, as a place get paved by Sinanan, if it get paved, you see Minister Marvelous Marvin coming in to dig it up. That is PNM. The left hand don't know what the right hand doing, and they don't have the ability to manage, because Rowley found people who don't know nothing about Wassa, who don't know nothing about TNTech, who don't know nothing about bridge, who don't know nothing about pothole, who don't know nothing about landslip, who don't know nothing about nothing. And who suffer? Y'all. And how could you vote for nothing? Because you say somehow there are some difference in race, Indian and African. What's that? Look the Douglar here. What are they talking about? Inflation. And this is why. You see, if elections were based on merit, if the mass media in Trinidad and Tobago were journalists who subscribe to the principle of journalistic integrity, truth, fact-finding, and information, the PNM would not be in any race, even if they want to gerrymander boundaries and so on. Because it will be like Usain Bolt running a race against Keith Scotland, even on his bike. Because he ain't going, even though they catch him filling up here and big fancy ride and so on. Because the PNM just sucks. They're not good. Forget politics. They're not good. Champa not good in sport. Dialsing not good in health. Imbot not good in finance. Rowley not good in prime minister. Puya Manarawi not good at AG. No Puya local government. And go on and on and on. It's incompetence across the board. Gatsby Doll is worse in education. But the way that they stay competitive is that your minds, the mind share, that is impacted by these mass media, these newspapers and so on, that then creates the discussion points on radio stations that are 72% PNM. This is what happens. I'm going to read this from the Business Guardian for you, right? Inflation drops again in December. What concept you get there? Inflation drops again in December. One, that inflation is going down, prices are dropping, and things are returning to normal, that the PNM is doing something good, so that your money, the value, the purchasing parity, the power of your dollar will get back, you'll get back some value. Don't you get that concept? Let's read the article and then realize the dishonesty and the lies. Average prices in Trinidad and Tobago in December 2023 increased by 0.73% compared to December 2022. But check the headline, eh? And how many people has really read the article? The headline jumps out at you. Inflation drops again, but the first paragraph, inflation went up by 0.73%. And understand this, also a way they say like the increase, the rate of increase sometimes, not now, not in this one is just pure false. But sometimes they say that the rate of increase decreased, but your prices still increase. So you get the impression by the way they write it, inflation, no, that would be deflation. Inflation decreasing just mean that for that month, year on year, the increase in prices, it didn't increase as much then. But you're still going through because prices rising. But that's what they do. Because nothing in this country works. And then here's another way. Here's another way that the PNM lies and tries to stay relevant and ensures that we the people don't reach the tipping point, which is a total refusal to accept anymore that we need to reject the PNM out of hand in our numbers. Dr. Terence Farrell. Now, Dr. Terence Farrell was appointed by Keith Christopher Rowley to the chair, the Economic Development Board, in November 2015. He resigned by January 2018 because all the recommendations he made to this clown, whose skin he played here, were rejected and nothing he recommended was done. And the Economic Development Board collapsed, shattered, and Rowley replaced it with Small Pin Daddy. Right? Now hear this. But then in 2020 when election come, this same clown who had to resign because the man who in charge of the economy was doing nothing that he said to do, still say vote PNM. Now we in a foreign exchange crisis. And lo and behold, my Business Sunday Newsday, I have to read this Dr. Terence Farrell saying, no forex crisis in TNT. Now that hit me like a I said, but what is this? This man he check out at St. Anne's. The other day I going to pick up my daughter in school and a P taxi stopped just by St. Anne's Hospital. And a madman jump out the taxi, you know. That way we in and gone inside the hospital. A madman take a taxi, pay money and gone up in for treatment, yes? But we have more outside than inside. Because I tell all you just the other day I had to go Dominica. And I say, boy, it have a foreign exchange crisis. Let me do him ask Republic Bank for US. Let me go and ask them for some EC. So, EC, Caribbean neighbors, nobody here asking for that too much. We should have plenty of that. I need the US, I go use EC. And they give me 600 EC. And tell me, God bless you. You understand? Which is the equivalent of the same 195 US. And this man say, it's not a crisis. So let me read what Dr. Farrell say. Trinidad and Tobago is not currently experiencing a foreign exchange crisis, although there might be rationing at the commercial banks, which limits access to funds, economist Dr. Terence Farrell has said. And then he talked about some of the reserves. He says, they have official reserves currently of about US 6.3 billion. What he didn't tell you, when Kamala left in September 2015, that was at 12.26 billion US. So Rowley half the reserves that Kamala had. He wouldn't tell you that because he's not intellectually honest. He's an intelligent, dishonest human being, okay? So he wouldn't tell you that. But then he went on to say, we also have 6.3 billion US in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. But he won't tell you that there was 7.6 billion US in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in September 2015, and that the increase from 2010 to 2016 was approximately 700 to 900 million US per year, and therefore in 8 years of Rowley, had he managed the economy as well as Kamala, there should have been the similar increase of 8 years at 1 billion US should be 8 billion plus 7, should be 15.6 or 16 billion US. But he come to tell you that the reserves in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund are 6.3 billion. And he said, sorry, 5.5 billion, right? He said the official reserves are 6.3 and the Heritage and Stabilization Fund was 5.5 billion. Then he goes on, and I could not understand what he's talking about. So he says, in an extreme situation, the government will probably be able to put their hands down some foreign currency deposits which are owned by statutory bodies or state enterprises. The point I am making, says Dr. Terence Farrell here, is that the foreign exchange situation is not dire. We are not by any means in any crisis. Now understand this. This gentleman, it all has to do with what you believe is a crisis. His definition of crisis is when the government, his prime minister that he resigned from, who don't listen, arrogant and dotish, when this government is unable to access any US. That's his definition of crisis. And his simplistic, superficial argument is that based on holdings in statutory authorities, based on the official reserves, and based on the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, the government, if need be, could get US. So therefore, there is no crisis. Here the problem with that theory, those assumptions, and what it's based on. People with a heart, people who care about others, people who care about citizens will understand that a crisis exists when a business has to shut down because they cannot get US. They cannot pay suppliers. Their credit limits are gone. They have to buy cash on the dash and they can't get cash. When they need 60,000 US, they could only get 3,000. When they need 150,000 to pay creditors, to pay suppliers, they could only get 30,000. When citizens need to get 500 US to go on a holiday, they can't get it. They're only getting 50 US per day and they have to go 10 days to get 500 US. This is a crisis to the individuals, to the small businesses, to the people, to the parents who have to pay for their children in university abroad, for those who have to send medicine and buy medicine for people outside. Though that is how we in the UNC, we as human beings, define a crisis. Trinidad and Tobago's foreign exchange is in crisis because you, the citizens, cannot get US. This man says, that's okay. It's okay, that's just you can't get, your businesses can't get. Massey could get to pay for Obia, but you can't get to pay for your children, your holiday. You can't get, if you had to go and make a speech in Dominica to pay hotel and buy food, you can't get EC, you can't get money. The bank's cutting down your credit card limit from 10,000 US to 2,000 US, from 20,000 US to 10,000 US, across the board. He does not find that is a crisis because in his opinion, crisis only occurs when the government, Rowley and them, cannot access foreign exchange. Now, if that doesn't tell you what PNM is about, so that's the essence of his argument. It is ridiculous. It is insensitive. It is heartless. It is puerile. It is nonsensical. It is dotishness. And it shows the kind of elitism that pervades the PNM. Because once the big boys good, once the government could get US, that's good, them good. It ain't no crisis. So when 6,000 SMEs shut down during COVID and 3,000 more shut down after COVID and 2,000 set to shut down next year, those people who suffering, who losing their cars, losing their houses, can't pay their mortgage, losing their assets, bordering on homeless, cannot travel, suffering, and the businesses shut down, low self-esteem, depression, higher suicide rates. That's not a crisis for Dr. Terence Farrell. Well, sir, I think you need to rethink, reset. Your mother could not have taught you that. You learned that somewhere along the way, probably interacting with people and rubbing shoulders with people who are heartless and senseless and wicked like Rowley. Your mother and father could have never taught you that, because there is a crisis. He says, there may be some rationing. Rationing of U.S. in Trinidad and Tobago, oil and gas rich, is a crisis. It's worse than 1982, Dr. Terence Farrell, but that's why PNM remains, and why some of y'all get confused, because this is an intelligent human being, very intelligent, and he will read that article and find he makes sense. So never mind all the small businesses, the single mothers, all the people who suffering, who can't pay the bills, who business shut down, who dreams are shattered, who can't get US. That is not a crisis, because the government could access US if them had to pay Shell or BP or EOG or whoever they had to pay. Central Block on target, 500 bed facility ready by early 2025. Y'all didn't remember just a while ago, I put up the picture of No Teeth to his face, Noel Garcia, and he had said that the Central Block will be ready in February 2024. Well, tomorrow is February 2024. Look, they just print, and the media don't say nothing, you know. But the Douglar don't forget. My mother and father blessed me with a photographic memory. So them just come and print. Normal. It's supposed to be open tomorrow, you know. They come and say, Central Block on target now. Where the target? Then me PNM just move target. Robin Hood couldn't hit a PNM because he can never know where the target is. So now the media and him know or don't remember what them say. When they said it will be ready, and I tell you about what madness I'm talking about. All you see them thing is only steel beam. The steel beam looking red like the steel beam they dropped by Balize House. They too, the 120 million building that they say they sell raffle ticket. Remember I tell all of that? Now listen to them. The new Central Block of the Port of Spain General Hospital campus continues to be on target for our first quarter 2025, you know. It's supposed to finish since 2019. Now it reached 2020. They say 2024. Tomorrow is 2024 February. They now say 2025. And if they go finish, it's Kamla, Jolene, and Munilal and them will have to finish that with Lakram Bodo and whoever else, because the PNM will be gone. But this is what the media does. They allow lies to flourish. They will not tell the truth. That's why I tell you, stop buying these things. I go out to do it just to show all you the lies and the nonsense that they say. Sinanan, over replacing Cabo Star. Process to source new vessel is ongoing. Rohan Sinanan, give me a chance, boy. Because the Cabo Star was corruptly brought here with crooked money, said Keith Christopher Rowley. He said the Ocean Stem and Cabo Star was crooked money. But you know what? It was Keith Christopher Rowley by prime ministerial approval over the phone when he was in Tobago with Smallpin that approved the charter party agreement for the Cabo Star at 26,500 US per day. That vessel, that old rusty down vessel, was working for 7,000 US a day elsewhere. 19,000 US extra per day was paid by the PNM for that piece of nonsense. That slow boat to Tobago, that old rusty thing. And it had come for 6 months in the first instance. It has been here 6 years. And the second, after the 6 months, they reduced it to 22,500 per day. Still 15,000 US per day more than it is worth. And it has been running so since then. Upwards of $275 to $300 million of your money that Rowley described as crooked money. Right? But that's PNM. He will go up on our thing and call people thief. He wouldn't call the name, of course, with innuendo. But Rowley, if that was crooked money and you approve it, what that mean? Because not a cent could have been paid if Rowley did not authorize, give cabinet approval, and then go back to cabinet for covering approval. Rohan, you didn't even know about that. They cut you out of that and they cut you out of all the vessel. You come in to tell me about you getting a replacement for the Kobo Star now? West tells of a plan to cut government's $276 million rental bill. Okay, Alison West. First thing, as soon as you swearing on the Bible to be a minister, we couldn't hear you. We didn't know where you come from. We couldn't understand what you say. But your niece get a house from HDC, eh? That was well good. Now you're saying, there's a plan to cut government's rental by $276 million. Okay, Alison West. Well, start with Faris Al Rawi building. Start with that. Start with that building and come down the line. Then start with Franklin Kanwai phone down in Faizabad by the family court. Start with all your ministers inside. Cut them first, right? Since all you're cutting rental. Families demand a meeting with Paria. And government cannot direct Paria to pay diverse families. That is what Rowley said. Understand the nonsense. A commission of inquiry, $22 million spent overall. No money spent to pay these men lawyers. The government take your money to fight against these men and lost. The commission of inquiry report says that Paria, the board, the management, the company, which means the government of Trinidad and Tobago, because the board, the company, was set up by Rowley's cabinet. The board was appointed by Rowley's cabinet, and Rowley's board found and headhunted and got Piper and Mushtaq Mohammed and them. Not Mushtaq Mohammed, Mushtaq whatever his name, sorry, Mushtaq Mohammed I think is volleyball. Whoever the clown name is there. And the commission of inquiry says that they were responsible for the deaths of these men. Corporate manslaughter. And Rowley gets up in the parliament and says, these families, the families of these fellas, these heroes, the children, the wives, will not be given compensation willy-nilly. That the board that is culpable and guilty according to the commission of inquiry and should be charged with corporate manslaughter, that they will read their own report and they will decide how they will compensate the families. When the report says that the board headed by Newman George, Rowley golfing partner, best friend and husband of the speaker and neighbor at Inez Gate in Tobago, they said that the board and the management acted in an inhumane manner, did not act with civility. They acted in an uncivilized manner with the treatment, the ill treatment to the families. And Rowley come to tell you, the nation, that the very same inhumane board now responsible for compensating human beings for the loss of their breadwinners. If you could make that make sense, I and all will vote PNM. If you could make that make sense, if you could make that heartless, disgusting, disrespectful, nastiness, illogical, wicked, malicious thing make sense, then me and all, I with all you too. Each and every one of you out there, this is enough. This PNM is a sickness. Only Obia could bring that kind of wickedness. No humanity, no empathy, no sympathy, no love, no care for anybody. And now Kamala asks about Paria contract renewals. What's this about now? Opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa has asked whether any senior officials at Paria Fuel Trading Company Limited had their employment contracts renewed before the Paria Commission of Inquiry report was laid in the House of Representatives on January 19. What? Lucrative contract? Is that true? Kit Rowley, Small Pinyang, Newman George? Is that true? Did you all renew the contracts of the management that were under investigation by a commission of inquiry? And you all renew them? Now people, if that does show you that them don't care, Them sit down, they say, well, the commissioner, the law, you could say what you want, the truth is the truth, could become we don't care, because we are dictators, and we in charge. These two clowns, them gonna Washington, Dragoon, coming there just now, Dragoon gas, all the eggs in one basket, and the Prime Minister Rowley hints at retiring. Wade Mark say, good riddance. Rowley say, he retired because his wife want him home. Where, in the palace or one Woodbrook place? Rowley, you could only fool your minions, boy. Anybody who know anything about life in Trinidad and Tobago will just watch you and laugh, boy, Rowley. Deadlock transparency. That was when you see Wade Mark brought a motion since last year to tell the government to give us information on Dragon gas. Give us the information so that we could know what's going on. Because the media trying to say at different times, oh, well done, Stuart Smallpin, young Dragon. But everything is Dragon, and they're not doing any work anywhere else. And Wade Mark brought the motion. It was well debated by Lida, by Tim Gopi Singh, by Neil Gosain, who came in as a substitute, by Jerlene John, by David Nackett, by Jayanti. And do you know, all 9 independent senators voted with the 6 opposition for information, transparency, accountability on what is taking place between Rowley and Smallpin and Delcy and Maduro. Well, I don't know how to take this one, boy Archie. But let me tell you something. These two clowns up there in the US, they fly up there. And while they up there talking to Blinken about cyber security, CIA security, anti-crime, guns and things, they're talking about gun manufacture and so on, border protection. They leave Fitzgerald and Talbot Hines, the Minister of National Security, who does ride horse with 80-year-old boys and hug them up and whine on the boomsy on top of horse. They leave Rowley leave the Minister of National Security and take this Smallpin to talk security. And while Rowley is there, taking a picture with Blinken, because all the stupidity in one Blinken basket, the US put out a communique to say sanctions back on, because Venezuela, Maduro has shown that he is tyrannical, he is oppressive, he is dictatorial and undemocratic. He has continued. I told you here on Douglar Politics, his family member who he put in the Supreme Court had disqualified the opposition leader and so on to remove her from being after she won 98%. Look at this now. While Rowley is up in Washington, you know, and he plays skinning and taking picture, the US slap him in the face with this statement by spokesperson Matthew Miller. Venezuela, sanctions, actions, and supporting democracy. United States Department of State, actions by Nicolas Maduro and his representatives in Venezuela, including the arrest of members of, well, we will stop, we'll go, that was the click, right. In support of the Barbados Agreement, the United States issued General License 44, which provides relief to Venezuela's oil and gas sector. Absent progress between Maduro and his representatives and the opposition unitary platform, particularly on allowing all presidential candidates to compete in this year's election, the United States will not renew the license when it expires on April 18th, 2024. Right? And you can read the entire thing. This is what the UNC, this is what Kamala Persad-Bissessar, this is what David Lee, this is what Wade Mark, this is what Anil Roberts was telling all you. That these two clowns put all their passion, all their connected intelligence, which amounts to a minuscule thread, into Dragon, Maduro, and neglected any and every other sector and sphere of energy, therefore mortgaging our future on stupidity. and on a dictator who would not change his spots, a man who want to even take land from sovereign nation of Guyana. Sanctions were always hanging over the head, yet these two irresponsible human beings proceeded to mortgage our children's future on their greed. And look what has happened now. And don't say we didn't tell you. Actually, right here on Douglar Politics and all, we had tell them. Run it. In that press conference, after Rowley said nothing for 56 minutes on Atlantic trains and the equity share that will come to us, his legacy. When they asked about Dragon Gas, he talked 35 seconds. He said, well, that one going. Now they just dance, the dragon, the editorials, they praise. When the UNC say, but all you're praising, it had no cash. Then they come back, they say they get extension, they could get cash, but now it had no dragon. Now it had Guyana versus Venezuela and US down there versus Venezuela and sanctions pending, and Maduro and them lying about 10.5 million people vote in a referendum when the place was like a ghost town, and sanctions hanging over, just waiting to be dropped on Maduro. Rowley come and talk 37 seconds about Dragon Gas and he tell all you nothing. Then he come to pretend and he say, but what is this narrative about all eggs in one basket, this nonsense? Well, I is the man who talk about the eggs in the basket because I listened to Stuart Smallpen Young in the Senate on a motion brought by the Honorable Senator Wade Mark about Dragon Gas. And Stuart Young went through and was boasting from 2016 coming up to 2018, and we would have gotten gas in 2020, but COVID came and we would have monetized that because that was proven reserves and it's right there and so much trillion TCF and blah, 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 blah. And he boasting about Dragon. And when we look at his track record and the PNM's track record, bid rounds out of 817 bids for deep water, only 3 taken up. Nothing coming to fruition, no investment, nothing going to come to bring gas for the next 10 years. They've done nothing in 8 years. Both sidetracking and this and EOG and that and touchstone, nothing. Because he could say nothing, because they have done nothing. And they're talking about all the eggs in one basket. And Rowley, don't pretend about, you didn't hear about, is Anil say in the Senate, in response to your Stuart Smallpen Young dunce, that you, the PNM, put all your eggs in one basket, and now the people of Trinidad and Tobago will suffer because of your stupidity, your lack of vision, your inability to walk and chew gum. And just to let you know, let's listen and make sure that it was the Douglar who talk about eggs in one basket. Run it when I responded to Stuart Smallpen Young in the Senate. Run it. That is what they're boasting about because they said Dragon Gas is it all and they put all the effort, and right now all the effort, the basket empty because they miss all the egg outside the basket. So when we talk about this motion, it is a very serious motion. We did not hear that. So therefore, we are worried because everything is a secret. And Trinidad and Tobago's future has been put on hold by the PNM because all the eggs in that basket, but the basket looking weak. The basket looking like it gets soaked. The basket look like everything is going to fall out. No interest. He come there, Rowley tell him, boy, debunk what Anil say, man. Tell him that what we have is other eggs, not all in that Dragon Gas egg basket. He come and say, well, boy, we talking so and we talking here and here and he called plenty name. Nothing. That's how a minister does a press conference? No, not at all. Tell us what block, tell us where, tell us how much they invested, what the geological surveys, what the seismic surveys say, when they believe, how much TCF they found, when will it come up, how much investment it needs, what is the negotiation, tell us what are the incentives you're giving to bring it up, and the gas will be here next year to pump into Atlantic. Nothing. Because now they are shareholders, as they say, 10% in 2, 3, and 4 with no gas. A Chinese company leave that and gone. What they leave it for? It had plenty money and they run. The Chinese company didn't like money. I want you all to listen very carefully to this. In my hand, I hold an article from the Newsday, section A, page 17, Saturday, January 27, 2024. PM. Action needed on short-term gas supply. This was Keith Christopher Rowley talking at the recently concluded energy conference. Now remember, he tried to tell Small Pinyon, debunk Anil about that all eggs. Tell him we did other things. We have many other things going on, many other streams of revenue and many other actions that we've taken. And Stuart Small Pinyon couldn't say nothing. Only a set of this and calling a set of name. Well, let's listen to Keith Rowley very carefully, you know. Action needed on short-term gas supply. That means we in dire straits. We don't have any gas. Okay. Prime Minister has urged quick action towards finding short-term sources of natural gas to meet the country's needs. So he's the Prime Minister 8 years, and he is now, in January of 2024, urging quick action. But he has been there 8 years. But let's read what he's saying and why he's saying this. Yes, says Rowley, there are some things we can do, but it is mainly in-house. Do your best technological improvements, making sure we are using the best technologies, the best decision making, getting decisions faster, so what outcomes we are anticipating can come a little earlier, so that anything we can do to try to preserve the levels at which we are consuming raw gas, or adding a little bit more to the raw gas supply, any of those things in that short window will be useful. But they will not change the fierce urgency. But if they were to do something now, which he has not done in 8 years, to try to improve gas supply by other means other than running down Maduro and Delcy with Dragon, that will not preserve the levels. But that will not change the fierce urgency to get beyond this stage. Apparently referring to the Dragon deal, he said, work done since 2018 had brought significant success in creating an enthusiasm for the near medium term, albeit amid a current decline in supply. Now, Rowley said, he cited earlier speakers to note the prevailing confidence that TNT could get past this short window, which he said could last up to 30 months. The short window of no gas, that required fierce urgency. This dangerous position, Rowley said, would last 30 months because in 30 months, Dragon gas will bring money to the shores of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me ask you this. Sanctions have just returned to Venezuela, which means no Dragon, no money for Maduro. Maduro has breached the Barbados agreement, and therefore sanctions, the licenses in April will not be renewed. Therefore, no money, no dealings, sanctions return to Venezuela. So the 30-month period of torture, of pressure, of danger, of crisis has now extended to an unknown date. These are the words of Keith Christopher Rowley, who was specifically saying we are in a precipitous position for 30 months. What he failed to say is that because of his lack of decision making, his poor management, his lack of incentivizing the upstreamers, his inability to find gas and bring gas to market, his PNM's failure has put us in this situation that we are in a dire need to find gas. But he said, don't worry, because so confident was he, up and down with VZ, he and Small Pin, yeah, and over to Venezuela, cross leg with Delcy, the dragon gas coming, so only 30 months, hold on, Rowley and Small Pin are coming. Put back up the US thing, Archie, because that was before he flew up, and this was announced while Rowley and Small Pin were up there talking Yankee and taking picture in support of the Barbados Agreement. And it goes on, the United States will not renew the licenses. So therefore, the PNM who put all the eggs in Dragon Gas basket has just put your entire future at risk. In support, right, of the Barbados, United States issued General License 44, which provides relief to Venezuela oil and gas sector. That's where Dragon was coming, right? Where money could come and deal, and Shell and other companies could go in there and build pipeline and start to ensure that in 2 years, in 30 months, we could get revenue. But Maduro is a dictator. Maduro is an oppressor. Rowley and Small Pin fall in love with Maduro. Rowley said it doesn't matter what he does, we are going to do business. It doesn't matter if he goes against Guyana and wants to take the Essequibo, we will still do business. That's what he said. And now sanctions are on the way again. Sanctions have been imposed. The license will not be renewed in April. So what is the position now? That these two traveling dunces have left Trinidad and Tobago in. They did not try when the bid rounds went, 17 bid rounds, only 3. They did not encourage and incentivize. All they do is bad talk UNC. But Kevin Ramnarine and Kamla had bids that broadcast that's saving us right now. Because those bid rounds were 2013, 2014. And gas came to market and revenue came in 2019, 2020 and going forward. If Kevin Ramnarine and the UNC wasn't there, we would have bust long time. These fellas have still been propped up by Kamla, and they did nothing to encourage them. Exacerbated the program also, the problems, by the negotiation in 2017. These two same clowns who went to Houston, and the bright fellas in Houston in the upstreamers outsmart these two duns, and you suffer because of zero-sum game. And if you all feel that this is what we just saying now, the UNC has been telling all you that and warning you of the stupidity, the irresponsible behavior of these two, the lack of thoughtful progress and policy implementation, the lack of creating disparate revenue streams to ensure survival of Trinidad and Tobago's economy, that our economy was in the hands of idiots. Look, Archie, remind them of how long we telling them. Run it. In the Senate, yes, put it as in the Senate. If it's sticking, you getting it? All right, run it, man.
Well, I checked the reports. He came here today, and you see, when you don't tell the truth, sometimes your memory had to be very good. You see, when you tell the truth, you could just talk. You don't even need paper. When you're not telling the truth, your memory has to be very good, because there was a COVID time, and the Trinidad and Tobago were #1 in the world because they blocked their own citizens from coming home. You can't come home. Whether it's 14 days, whether it's PAHO regulation, you can't come. They locked down. Nobody could come home. And some Oxford student, 2 of them was drinking beers somewhere, and they say, hey, that sounds good.
Mr. Vice President, please, 46-1.
I'm talking on something that was 46-1.
Senator, your argument seems to be outside the course of the debate. Can you bring it in, please? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm guided. Let me pull it back in quickly, because the honorable member knows exactly where I'm going. He gets jumpy. See, that's why he will get back San Fernando. He's just now, but he's very quick. The Honorable Minister of Energy back then was the Honorable Minister of National Security. See how quick it tie in? The same minister who is here today was then the Honorable Minister of National Security during COVID. The only human being on planet Earth who could sign a piece of paper to allow you to come home was the Minister of National Security. The only person who could sign for you to land in Piaco was the Minister of National Security. That Minister of National Security, when a plane landed that was sanctioned by the very USA that he says he's going up and down to talk with, and the plane carried Delcy Rodriguez, the vice-presidente de Venezuela, and the PDVSA officials, including Astrobal Chavez, the cousin of former President Hugo Chavez, and other PDVSA officials. At that time, as printed in the Express of May 12, 2020, the Honorable Minister of Energy, who was then the Honorable Minister of National Security, said that he had no idea who was coming, what they were coming to talk about. That Delcy Rodriguez was in charge of COVID-19 response, that she came to get hampers for Venezuelans, all of that. But today on Hansard, the Honorable Minister of Energy boasted that back then the negotiations for Dragonfield were going on, and during COVID, that he invited Delcy, he and the Prime Minister invited Delcy Rodriguez. They came here to discuss Dragon Gas. They came here to discuss energy. He said so today, but back in 2020, he was telling a different story. He said he didn't know how they reached. He said he didn't know the plane was sanctioned. He don't do that. He's a public servant. That was a statement, but today, we get the truth. You understand? See, his problem is memory not good. Okay, my problem is
small memory.
Mother and father give me good memories.
It's a small memory.
So that is just to remind you about the history and what they were doing and how long these two clowns have been sculling and cutting deal and going back and forth, and they're so motivated. What motivates these two? Not helping you, not giving hamper, not when you're flood out, not when you're murdered. You don't see them by family members consoling people. All the murders that are going on, anything to do with money. You see these two. So I'm just going back and tell you the history. On top of that, we warned y'all that sanctions were just there waiting because Aleppo doesn't change its spots and Maduro could not be trusted. Run it.
So when we ask the honorable member, what is the issue? Where are we going? What is going to happen? The sanctions that the honorable minister said that were raised, they are in jeopardy once again. We are pretending that we're burying our head in the sand, but it's a geopolitical situation. The only reason the dragon ain't danced yet is because the USA stopped the music. The USA tell the DJ play tune, but it looks like the DJ going to get thrown out or electricity will go on a blackout because it have no TGU. We don't know, but the music may stop. And if the music stops, the PNM in trouble. You want to know why? The Honorable Minister today also admitted something that all PNM should be afraid of and ashamed. He admitted that he can't walk and chew gum. He admitted here on Hansard that when they saw the amount of gas in Dragon, that was secure. Yeah, you know you have possible, probable, and proven reserves. He said it here. The Dragon gas is proven, which means you ain't have to find it again. All you have to do is try and get it. So when in 2016, they saw that that was proven, and so many trillion of TCF and so on, they get excited and they put all their focus on Dragon gas. And then you heard my colleague talk about bid rounds that fail. Imagine you put out 17 bid rounds and only 3 were taken up by the upstreamers. Only 3 were bid on. That's like you're going in a party and ask 17 girls for the number and you only get 3. That's not a very good track record. That is what they're boasting about, because they said Dragon gas is it all, and they put all the effort, and right now all the effort, the basket empty, because they miss all the egg outside the basket. So when we talk about this motion, it is a very serious motion.
And then they continued as the United National Congress said, what are y'all doing? Democracy is dead in Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro since 2015 has been turning Venezuela into a failed state. He put his friends and family in charge of the Supreme Court, the National Assembly, every item of power, just like what this clown is doing right here in Trinidad and Tobago. But y'all the people can stop this one. But Maduro did not even respect the international court, did not respect paper. But these two clowns going down there, allowing Delcy to land, end up in his face, and he ain't know is Astrobal Chavez lying and balling COVID and hamper, and then admitting it was gas, and Delcy came and dragon gas. But Maduro is the key, and the United States, and furthermore, let me just tell all you the polls. Right? Remember these two, they boasted that when the Democrats, and I'm a Democrat by heart, but Biden has fallen asleep standing up, just like Fitzgerald at Albert Hines. Me, I know what the Democrats doing there. But whatever they're doing there, they were boasting that a change in U.S. administration. But even this Democratic administration has realized that Maduro is not trustworthy and not living up to his word to uphold democracy and democratic elections. But let me also tell you, the U.S. have an election this year coming in 2024. And right now, in every poll known to man, Donald Trump leading. But Maduro could not be trusted. Neither could these two run it.
The U.S. have landed in Guyana. You see, the Honorable Minister said they went up and down to U.S. 10 times. He went for the year. Well, me and him know, but thanks to that, and that's the only information that at least he have visa, right? But he went up and down 10 times to deal with dragon gas. He even said the White House communicate with he. Well, the White House can't communicate with President Biden, so me I know how they know the Minister of Energy at Trinidad and Tobago, but we have to take his word for it. He is a truthful, oh, sorry. Let me be truthful, yes. And they said that they went up and down to negotiate to be able to get the dragon gas out, to start to invest. And they made many trips, the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy. And they got successfully the U.S. to lift the sanctions. At first, it really was nothing, but they celebrated. They nearly had a party in the Balize house that they finished, right? But I see it slow down right now. So maybe they're looking for more donations. But when you are talking about the U.S. lifting sanctions, the U.S. allowing negotiations, first with no cash, now with cash in different kind of currencies, as the minister said, then it is very pertinent that the U.S. Army has just landed in the Essequibo, because the very people that the government and all of our futures are in this one dragon gas basket, the Americans are now on the side of the country that is opposed to the one we want to hug up with the dragon. And this is very critical, because the U.S., the minister said the U.S. allowed, they work with the U.S. lift the sanction, they got a 2-year license. It's not that this, it's got an extension now. All of that was U.S. Well, the U.S. has landed on the side of Guyana. December 3rd is fast approaching. And I want to ask the honorable government, not only Minister of Energy, because a lot of them don't really listen to him anyway, yes. But I want to ask the senators, they have good people there. When they go home, they will understand. They may not answer the question now because camera on. But when they're home quietly, I just want to ask the government something. Since this is our future, and we ain't do we work and get no bid on no gas that we have. We ain't try to use technology to find more in our land, or in water blocks, or Tobago. We ain't do that. We say dragon. Okay. And Senator Sagram Singh Sukral, Honorable Attorney at Law, I want to ask her. Honorable Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs. Nice. I have plenty title, but deservedly so. I want to ask something. If someone you're negotiating with has no respect for the international court, international law, rule of law, natural justice, codified laws and boundaries from 1897 to 1899, does not care, calls a referendum of his people to say, I want to ignore the international court and I want to take what I want to take because I am a strong man, I have army, I have missile and I have jets. Do you feel comfortable signing a piece of paper with that person? Because you're talking about contract. You're talking about signing a piece of paper. And we have not heard the information, Honorable President, because we want to know, was the negotiation? Because what we are hearing and what was neither confirmed nor denied today is that we have to put between 65 million US and 100 million US up front, because it makes sense, Venezuela had no cash, they were under sanctions for a very long time, to build pipeline and so on and build infrastructure. That means the people had to take their money away from medicine, hospital, road, school, gate, food card, all them things to try and invest in this great future with a man who ignoring and disrespecting the international court. Do you have confidence that when you don't spend our money and the gas start to flow and the man start to see money, that he tell you, I watch all you down in Tetran and all you only eating 3 meal a payla per day and all you can't fight me and therefore the gas is mine? Do you feel confident that a man who will disrespect the international court will respect a piece of paper with you?
And take note, as we also see now, we flash forward to today, and the US has said that the United States is revoking General License 43. It's also issued General License 44, which proves relief to Venezuela's oil and gas sector. Absent progress between Maduro and his representatives and the opposition of the unitary platform, particularly on allowing all presidential candidates to compete in this year's election, the United States will not renew the license when it expires in April 18, 2024. Additionally, the United States is revoking General License 43, which allowed Minivan to deal with gold. The United States remains strongly committed to supporting dialogue between the parties and the aspirations of the Venezuelan people for a democratic future. And the ones who are to go and broker that deal is the 2 men who are thwarting democracy in Trinidad and Tobago. And you hear, Rowley didn't do anything. He came to the energy conference talking about now we have to move quickly, we have to do something, we have to improve our technologies and so on, because we have a 30-month horizon that we have to fight through. Well, that 30-month horizon just stretched because this man, brain can't stretch. It's not functioning. And look at his sidekick, Dumb and Dumber. As we talk about that, these two, they say they went to talk crime, but they leave at Albert Hines. Say, you want to know why? Even the PNM supporters, promoters of the PNM, people who believe in the gospel of the PNM, showing that Rowley is a total, complete failure. I now take you to Selwyn Cujo Express article, Sunday Express, Sunday 28 January. Keith Rowley cannot solve our crime problem. Keith Rowley and his government will not solve our growing crime problem for the simple reason that Rowley has become a part of the problem rather than a part of the solution. He is much too arrogant, indecisive, ill-disciplined, and uninspirational to lead such a vital national effort. I can't read no more. I'm going to read over that for you from Selwyn Cujo, not Anil. You know, Anil know that long time. Anil trying to tell all of that long time. I tell all of that in loud voice. I tell all of that screaming. I tell all of that soft. I tell all of that funny. I tell all of that serious. I tell all of that vexed. That this man is a total dunce and a clown. But Professor Selwyn Cujo, Keith Rowley and his government will not solve our growing crime problem for the simple reason that Rowley has become a part of the problem rather than part of a solution. He is much too arrogant, indecisive, ill-disciplined, and uninspirational to lead such a vital national effort. On top of that, he put Fitzgerald at Talbot Hines, the Pomsite, the man who does ride horse with a 8-year-old boy, sleepy, narcolepsy, dotish, sativa, run from Tutu Water Hines in charge of national security. And you know what Hines and Rowley and Massey does do? Only Obia. Look at what Hines had to say to new traffic wardens. Listen and careful how pervasive Obia is in Rowley's Lekoto PNM. Run it. Who are Christians, who believe in the goodness of Jesus and the Lord, you all vote for PNM. You all vote for Rowley, who boasts that he put Spirit Lash on Obia. He went Lekoto for Patrick Manning. When Manning put him out of the cabinet, I tired play that audio for you all, boasting about it, and PNM sycophants clapping that. Massey, when Massey pay for Obia, Rowley said nothing wrong with that, but just don't use the US, because he as a leader would like to go Adelphi to consult. And now this one, a Minister of National Security, telling you about those of you who pray, or you go to the temple, or you go to the mosque, or you go to church, or you go by the lady who does do the thing. You know it, eh? This is very serious, and our country is drowning in a quagmire of evil with these Obia men in charge, and all you vote for that. But let me tell you something. Change is coming, and the UNC's anti-crime consultations, the outpouring of passion, interest, concepts to get a government in place who will put as a priority the safety and security of each and every citizen. From La Jolla down to Naparima College in the south, the places, the venues overflowing with citizens coming to hear, to listen, to contribute, to give their ideas. As Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC get ready to boost up, to bring up, look at it, don't say I lie, look at it, to put forward the crime plan that already exists, but it's going to be even bigger, better, down to every nuance, to border protection, radar, Coast Guard, Army, patrol, legislation, communication, commissioner of police, motivation of the police, the citizen security program, the 20,000 security officers across the board, because we are in crisis. And look at the people. That is the change that is coming, because we are feeling unsafe. So I must commend Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC for the anti-crime consultations, and I invite each and every one of you, anybody, pray their last name, wherever, whatever schools, school discipline, any idea, any concept to improve and take our country back from this insanity that PNM has encouraged and allowed to flourish must be done. And when you hear Wayne Meister, a career officer, a great human being, a man talking and telling you, the citizen, because he care about his work, he love his work, and when he tells you, when he's giving advice on videos on how to stay safe, and the one he did on home invasions, he implored you to take any and all action necessary to protect your home and your families. He said it, he echoed the sentiments of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who said, stand your ground. You have that video, Archie? Run it there and listen. And well said, my star. That is the kind of man, this is the kind of man will keep people safe. Him and others like that in the police service. Not them who dress up in tea dress and have tea party and only telling me pray. We go all pray. But you have a work to do. You have the authority. You have the manpower. You have the weaponry. You have the strategy. You have the assets to keep us safe. So while you're praying, do your work. Run it.
Stand your ground. Get legal firearms. Protect your families. If you're named man, that is what you must do. Protect your families first and foremost. What should you do? Empty the clip. Empty the clip. And then reload.
When I said light them up and empty the clip, of course, if a man is there over your wife, raping your wife, what are you going to do? Empty the clip. And I want you to think about if you have a child, someone is there raping your daughter. What do? Stand up and watch and say, no, the law says I must use reasonable force. I'll push him over with my hand. No, I stand by empty the clip. And I stand by also giving law-abiding citizens the right to bear arms.
Empty the clip. 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 When the criminals invade your home, you can draw your licensed firearm and light them up. Empty the whole clip.
All the topics for Kaiso, out of Gadsby Dolly in the cabinet with all the ministers them, out of Bacchanal between Rowley and Foster fighting over the Dolly. They write none of that. You know what Devon Seal, that PNM, boy, Devon Seal, if Lick Bamsi had a face in Kaiso is you. He come to sing that Kamala irresponsible for telling people to protect themselves, their daughters, their wives, and their children from marauding killers, bandits, and rapists. Imagine a Calypsonian, write a Calypso, criticizing that and say that she irresponsible. We have to cool it down. So when your daughter getting raped and an AR-15 over she, you have to cool it down. You have to go and drink a iced tea and a coconut water. Devon Seal, you big clown. And just to show you all as we go and understand this. This is why this country in a mess. The Honorable Fazal Karim passed away 1 week ago. And I had to read a Guardian editorial praising him and saying that we must continue Karim's legacy and so on, and listing some of his achievements and saying how he was a visionary and so on, right? Come back to me, Archie. Let me tell you all something. Guardian newspaper, when Fazal Karim was alive, and in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, into 2015 until September, when he built nursing school, he increased gate, he opened the gate for TechVoc, he created certification for trades, he increased gate to 726 million, where 59,000 students could go to school and so on, paid for by the state. While he was doing all of that, building 12 MIC centers, 10 NESC centers, creating situations and opportunities, building a UE campus for the Southland, devolving the power, moving offices away from Port of Spain, which will ease the traffic congestion, taking our children and our nation into his hands. Where was one editorial during that 5-year and 5-month period where you said, Fazal Karim, UNC minister, well done. Those MIC centers are brilliant. The NESC centers, the increase in gate funding for TechVoc. Show me one editorial that you said or wrote that I can read. And believe you me, the Douglar search, I don't open my mouth before I talk. Show me one where you said, well done, brilliant Fazal. And from September 8th, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Please show me. as the PNM dismantled every visionary program implemented, instituted, and funded by Fazal Karim and the UNC. As the PNM cut gate from 726 million down to a paltry 285, from 59,000 students down to 28,000 students, as they close MIC centers, close NESC centers, close THTTI, cut funding to COSTAT, cut funding to UTT, cut funding and close down the nursing school, shutting out the nurses, shutting down programs, shutting down what Fazal Karim had done. Show me one editorial where you said no PNM, no. Don't do that. Don't dismantle Fazal Karim's dream, his vision for the future. Don't play games with our children's future. Show me one. Now the man dead, or you come the right one? Fire burn you, you dishonest guardian. You guardian of Rowley's PNMK packs. To the family and friends of Fazal Karim, condolences to you on the passing of a great man. And his daughter Ria Karim was brilliant in eulogizing the Honorable Fazal Karim. We leave you tonight with that. Run it.
The measure of a man. What is the measure of a man? Would it be the accolades poured out at public events, media appearances, when you're in a position of influence and power, heralding all your good works? Of course, we are grateful for this. It's important. It's necessary when you're doing a good job. Or is it the way you are spoken about when you have no power, when you are no longer in a position of influence, when you don't have big purse strings to dole out to people, or they may think that that's what you should do? How often in a society like ours that loves to point fingers at people and criticize everything you do, even if you do it with the best of intentions, how often do you encounter a man about whom only positives and praises are spoken? That is my father. We can speak about all of his accomplishments at the macro level, all he has done for education, for training, for development in this country. But it is the way that he changed the course of individual lives that touches the heart. This is the measure of the man. What is the measure of a man? The number of fancy cars, homes, designer this and that, the way you can spend money. Yes, of course, it's your right when you earn a lot of money. But is the measure of a man giving whatever you have, no matter how little, to the people that you love and care about? His dream was to be a pilot. He always wanted to be a pilot when he was young. For whatever reason, probably financial constraints, this was not a possibility for him. But in the true spirit of Fazal Karim, what did he do? He created avenues for young people to accomplish their dreams, the dream that he had that could not accomplish himself. He created the aviation campus in central Trinidad and landed a Boeing, I don't know what the number is of that jet, a big plane, down in there. From cutting cane to flying plane. This is who he was. If he could not have it for himself as his dreams fulfilled, he wanted to make sure that others could. Time and tide wait on no man. We must love fiercely and unashamedly. We must actually do the job of protecting and serving those that we love, not just in lip service, but in acts of service, in devotion and selfless commitment. This is the measure of the man. He was truly a giant among men, a leader among leaders, a servant of the people. Today I say, well done, good and faithful servant. Great is your reward in heaven and on earth. Great is your wealth in the lives of those that you have touched and made better. Rest in peace now. Rest in peace. We love you.
On that note, each and every one of us who loves Trinidad and Tobago, who has a skill, passion, empathizes with their fellow citizen, we must keep the spirit of people, of men like Fazal Karim alive. And we must save our country from the evil that is led from the top. It must be done. It has to be done. Or we will lose our country forever. Good night.